Hey guys, got a new video for you. This is when I was at my rental house putting in a channel drain. As always, I am showing you more of what a DIYer would do with the channel drain, problems that I can get into. I am not a professional channel drain person. None of the things that I do on this channel are professional, more just to show you what can happen if a DIYer attempts things himself. But here we go. So here we are at the house, and as you can probably see, the water can come straight down the street, down the drive, and into the garage. It can also run into the yard, and from the yard run into the driveway and then into the garage. So I ended up several years ago putting in 2 4-inch drains, but since the water is very often coming on the other side of the drive, it can easily go into the right side of the garage. So things that I needed was the necessary plumbing. I am going to tap into the existing 4-inch pipe that is now inside the ground and attach 4-inch pipe to it, so I don't have to trench all the way back again to the creek that is behind the house. Starting off, I did a straight line and then painted it so I knew exactly where my line was. Decided to use a black paint so I can really see that line well. The wood on there is not only to keep my line straight, but also to keep from painting the part of the concrete that I wasn't going to be working on. The digging portion wasn't too bad. I was looking for that pipe, dug from where the channel drain is going to be out to where I knew the pipe crossed. I would definitely recommend that if you do have to have a very long trench, anything more than 10 feet, I would go and rent a trencher. I've done that twice where I trenched all the way back to the creek. There is no way I would have wanted to use a shovel to go all the way back there. Here I'm starting to cut. I quickly decided I definitely need the water running onto the blade, because this thing, if you don't have the water running onto the blade, it smokes like crazy. I was very surprised by how hard this thing is to pull. The next day my grip strength was nothing. I had expected this saw to cut through this concrete like butter, and it did not. So this part of the process probably took 2 to 3 times longer than what I had expected originally. Even the hose sometimes was hard to control and to keep it running on the project. It flailed about, and took me a while to learn how to keep it onto the saw. I really should have taken a 2x4 or something and laid it across the hose to where it would run directly onto the blade. It really did help keep the dust down. I had originally rented the saw for 4 hours. I was thinking this would take me probably about an hour to do. It ended up taking me near the full 4 hours. I could even kept that saw for a little bit longer, but I did use it, and after I had thought I was done with it, to help me break up the concrete. Well, right about now I'm wishing I probably would have paid someone to do this. This is actually some pretty hard work. Cutting the concrete, it's just going little by little, maybe like an inch every 10 to 20 seconds. I don't know if it's the quality of the blade or the quality of the rental at Home Depot, but man, this is actually some pretty hard work. So when watching this on YouTube, I had thought, man, this looks pretty easy. They just show you to tap in the same spot and it would crack the concrete, and then you could just pry it up. Problem that I had was, even though this concrete was about 4 inches thick, there were spots that were up to 8 inches thick where my saw only cut through 4.5. Ooh, that's a big piece of concrete. Even pulling up some of these pieces was hard. With them being 6 to 8 inches thick, they would get jammed up in there, and trying to pull these things out took a lot of strength out of me. At one part of the project, I had to actually bust out a sledgehammer. An afterthought, I wish I would have gone and bought a jackhammer, a small jackhammer from Harbor Freight. They cost just a few bucks more than what it would have been to rent. I did not want to go back and rent a jackhammer, but they were actually out of stock when I stopped by to get the jackhammer. I did not want to rent from Home Depot because that would mean I would have to make another trip out to Home Depot to take it back. Plus, it took about 20 minutes to rent that concrete saw, and I really didn't want to spend that much time at Home Depot. Okay, it has been a hard day. This is not as easy as they make it look on YouTube. But I know for a channel drain of this size, I think that it was quoted around $2,500. I think I've spent on everything less than $500. It may have been about $500, I don't know, but pretty big difference in price. Personally, I think it's worth saving the money, but others might think it's a little bit too much work. Just putting my cap on and the connector to connect to 4-inch PVC pipe on the other end. I got all my plumbing hooked up, so it's ready to go. I'm going to be finishing up the concrete. You can see that I needed a couple extra rubber connectors that are flexible, but got it all hooked up pretty good. Just dropping my concrete in. And yeah, it was a hard day yesterday. 8 hours of work because of those big chunks of concrete that had bust up with a sledgehammer. Not fun. The concrete portion of this went pretty smoothly. I mixed it up in the wheelbarrow, laid it down, and smoothed it out. It took me a little bit to get used to the trowel, but once I did, it didn't take too long. And that's it. So full, 12 hours one day and about 4 hours the next, and I am complete. Again, saving about $2,000. In my opinion, it was worth it. You do have to have a little bit of strength to work that saw. But I'm happy with the finished project. I think that the drainage will be really good now. So it's just going to flow on down here through my existing piping because I already have drainage over here. If I hadn't have had that, I would have had to go rent a trencher and trench all the way back to the creek at the back of the property, and then put in more PVC pipe. But again, overall I'm impressed. If you like this video, if it helps you out at all, please consider subscribing and hit that like button.